to do with replacing the hudud.
What about the argument that the world has changed, which is evident? I don't think either of us would disagree with that. The world has changed since then. It's become more cosmopolitan, it's become more multicultural. That inevitably will have an impact on things like
Crime has
apostasy.
increased.
And crime is increasing.
People are less safe.
So these kind of things that have, with even not aside from those facts, which I agree they are facts, but aside from those, even the fact that the technology has just changed the way we live. And the day-to-day transactions that are taking place nowadays are just so different. How can we refer to laws that were based around 7th century Arabia and still believe that despite the world changing so much that they're still applicable today?
So I think there are two things here. I think first of all, the fundamentals of human interaction haven't changed. Murder is murder. Murder today is murder. Yeah. We haven't got to the level where murder is like someone deleting your social media account or something like that. You know, like murder is murder. Yeah. Zina is zina. And so on. Those fundamentals haven't changed. And those are fundamental human, they are crimes against humanity on a level of humanity. And it's generally in every society, they are considered to be really terrible, horrific crimes. Things like murder, adultery, fornication, and so on. That is one aspect. The second aspect is that, as we've mentioned in several times, Islam provides a framework for dealing with what we call nawazil and mustajiddat. Now, murder is not a nazila. I'm sorry, murder is not something new that turned up yesterday. Neither is fornication something new. Neither is apostasy something new that turned up last week. We also talked about the Jewish law of stoning to death for the one who invites someone to another religion and so on. This is not something that turned up last week. These are not nawazil, they're not mustajiddat. They're not new issues that need to be looked at in the concept of, or in the framework of Islam. They're just simply things that were there before, they're there now, and they have their rulings. However, if there are nawazil, like financial crimes,
right?
And says, we talked about theft, being theft from a place of safety, a hirz, a place of safety and security. What does that represent in terms of Bitcoin? That is a nazila. It's a new issue that needs to be looked at in light of the Islamic evidences through things like qawa'id, principles, qiyas, analogy, other tools that are available to the mujtahid in order to determine where this sits or what the conditions sit in terms of the laws on the punishments for theft. When is it a discretionary punishment and when is it a had min hududillahi azza wa jal? That is something which is looked at in the framework of what Islam has given. There's plenty of guidelines. For example, the use of the word hirz. Hirz here in theft is a place of safety and security that could be potentially considered to be as digital as well as physical, because the word used is broad. But that's for the scholars and the mujtahidun to look at and to analyze and then to apply the rulings of Islam to them. Islam adapts to changes in the world. Changes in the world are nawazil. Allah Azza wa Jal adapts the religion of Islam to them through principles and through the tools that are available in ijtihad. As for things that have always existed and still exist today, those don't